Welcome back to Explain America. This is your host, Kyle Becker, where radical Rep. Ilhan Omar is blasting those Americans who are calling for her to be deported in the wake of her absolutely vile and disrespectful comments about the late conservative influencer Charlie Kirk. Ilhan Omar is coming out and basically shooting back at those people, but there's a real problem with what she has to say, and it's not what you think. But before we get into this story, please like, share, and comment at Explain America. We appreciate your support for common sense journalism. Well, Ilhan Omar, for better or worse, has been the face of the radical Democratic Party. She is a squad member who is essentially calling Donald Trump a Nazi, doubling down on hateful rhetoric.
We have said this president is racist. We have condemned his racist remarks. I believe he is fascist. I want to remind people that this is what this president and his supporters have turned our country, that is supposed to be a country where we allow democratic debate and dissent to take place. And so this is not about me. This is about us fighting for what this country truly should be.
Let's not forget that the assassin in this case, allegedly, Tyler Robinson, engraved bullet casings with Antifa-related slogans such as "Catch This Fascist" was one of the engravings. There was an anti-fascist Italian revolutionary song lyric that was also there in the mix. So obviously Tyler Robinson, who had a furry partner and had associations with various radical online communities, this person is not, someone to be defended in this case. And it seems like Ilhan Omar is going out of her way to excuse political violence in this country. Of course, she's a Somalian war refugee, and she is someone who is spreading propaganda in the United States. And we're going to tie it all together really quick, but suffice to say there are grounds to deport her. It's pretty clear, and it goes beyond just the marriage with her brother. So let's first hear what Ilhan Omar had to say, because she claims the country's being led by idiots and they can't deport her because she's an American citizen.
Be elected has the same certificate as he does. But I think for me is I feel embarrassed for him, because in these attacks, what he does, and I think with the likes of Nancy Mace and whoever that Randy guy is, they expose themselves for how stupid they are. And that is embarrassing for us as a country, because these are people who are elected to positions of leadership. He's supposed to be the president of the United States, who's heading off to Europe to represent us. When he does, he's uneducated enough to understand that members of Congress can't be impeached. You know, when you have Nancy and Randy saying, you know, we're on it, we're going to impeach her. When they're saying they're going to deport me, knowing full well that you cannot deport an American citizen. What that displays for not just Americans, but folks on an international platform, is that our country is being led by idiots. And that is not something that we should be comfortable with as Americans, and that's not something that should make us proud. And so in this moment, I feel great sadness as an American that these are the kind of people that the world gets to see representing us.
So what do you think is at play here then? If these people are, as you say, idiots and don't understand the kind of basic responsibilities they either have and the powers that they have in Congress or in the presidency, what do you think is the animating factor behind why they come after you with such venom and vitriol?
Yeah, it's to gin up hate, and then to turn it around, to be able to raise money, to rattle their base. And I think ultimately is to get enough people to bully us into silence. And I would have hoped by now that they have learned that one thing, they are not going to succeed in silencing my voice. I have the honor and privilege of representing Minnesotans who I love, who've welcomed my family, who helped raise and educate me, and who have given me the opportunity, the privilege, the honor of representing them in the United States Congress. So that is what I bring with me every single day as I walk on those halls, knowing that there are great Americans who have faith in me to carry their voice, to fight, to make sure that they are able to afford their lives. This is a president right now that's presiding over an economy that is not working for anyone. It's getting worse for everyone. He has no understanding of how tariffs work and how those are hidden taxes on Americans. I represent Minnesota, where our farmers are feeling severe economic pain because we have $22 billion in trade with Canada. So we are in pain as Minnesotans, not only because our healthcare is being threatened, not only there's food insecurity that is under threat right now, not only are we dealing with ICE terrorizing people and creating job shortages, but we're also feeling the economic pain of what these tariffs are doing to the economic vitality of our incredible state.
So, Congresswoman, I do want to go back to this week, though, because after Trump attacked you, Laura Loomer, she got on Twitter and she tweeted that you should be.
Well, a deeper dive into this shows that Ilhan Omar's father brought his family to the U.S. under a refugee program to help people fleeing war caused by Somalia's genocidal Siad Barre regime. There is a real problem with this. Her father worked for the Barre regime, according to documents, and her father, Nur Omar Mohammed, was reportedly, and this seems to have been confirmed, a senior officer in the military of the Barre regime. And it was likely that he specialized in propaganda. So this cuts directly to her refugee claims. So you can even go beyond the marriage to her brother, allegedly, and the documentation of that, which seems to be pretty cut and dry at this point. This week we saw further documentation of this. But the real root of her potential immigration fraud is in that she was not legitimately a refugee. She wasn't fleeing the Barre regime. Her father worked for the Barre regime. And there was an Atlanta council member named Alicia Neebs who said, wait until you learn that he and his subordinates in the Battle of Mogadishu killed U.S. forces in 1994. So here is where Ilhan Omar is absolutely wrong about her being an American citizen and that cannot be deported. She needs to look up something called denaturalization. And you can look it up, and the grounds for denaturalization go in lied or concealed facts, ineligible at time, affiliated with certain terror or terrorist groups, or committing serious crimes. I think that one or more of those could apply to Ilhan Omar's case, and her belief that she's untouchable, well, that's simply not true, because we have laws, and it really looks like you broke the law. You weren't fleeing the Barre regime because you were a refugee or a victim of it. Your father was working for it. So you may have had ulterior motives for filing for refugee status in the United States. That's grounds for deportation. That's my opinion. You're welcome to yours, and you can leave them below on Explain America, and we really appreciate you watching.